Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's almost the middle of October, so this is the perfect time for me to post my October bullet journal setup. Of course, you might hear my dog in the background. That's normal because he always comes around when I'm filming, so yeah, you should be used to it by now. If you're new to my channel, my name is Alina, I'm an author and I post videos on YouTube about books and writing. Today I have, like I said, a bullet journal setup video for you, and this is my first time using watercolor in my bullet journal, so that's what you're enjoying right now. I skipped the part where I painted the trunk of the tree because the interesting part was the foliage. My theme for the month was fall colors in watercolor paints, and I'm just using a little sponge to dab the foliage on. I think Christine from Simply Nailogical will be proud of my dabbing skills, even if there's no hollow in this. I apologize for that. I have no hollow paints, but this will have to do. If you've followed me on Instagram at all, and definitely you should, this is my custom-made watercolor palette that I made because I don't do well with tubes of watercolors. I always squeeze out too much and then I don't know what to do with it. Both sets of watercolors that I have are student grade for sure, and not the best. Watercolor is not something extremely popular around here. I can find good acrylics, but you know, watercolor doesn't work so great. Still, I really loved the result of this, and this technique of dabbing on foliage with a sponge is something I picked in a tutorial by the Frugal Crafter, and when I tried to reproduce that tutorial I didn't have a sponge, so yeah, I remembered it later when I was testing stuff up for the bullet journal in my sketchbook. So yeah, this is my welcome page. I'm really proud of it. I just loved how it turned out, and my faux calligraphy actually works really well with this fall colored theme. As you know, I've managed to damage my health this summer. Well, it's ended now. I should say last summer, I don't know. I'm in denial about summer being over and autumn being almost over as well, because I've missed so much of it. So my broken leg is recovering, but it took me a long time to edit and process this video, especially after realizing I've kind of missed parts of the footage. They're just not on camera. So it's great. This is my usual promotions and sales page, but I've just reworked it, and the time restricted eating is just something smaller at the bottom of the page with a small calendar and my color codes, and I will just color in each day as I go. I did that because I thought I should have a better overview of my book related stuff for the month. Hopefully that will get me back on track, because I've missed a lot of writing and marketing and everything else during my broken leg recovery bit, which came after the long cold. But yeah, that's the new page, and now we're moving on to pretty much the same spreads I used for tracking my writing. I did use watercolor to decorate this page as well, and what I did differently in this setup was a lot of freehanding the lines and the tables and everything else, because filming this and the tests for it took about 3 hours. Pretty soon after the surgery, so about 2 to 3 weeks, I think, after surgery, when I was still not allowed to do anything with my legs. So this was super straining. So whatever I could expedite, I did. I'm not sure how I feel about freehanding in my bullet journal. It's definitely faster, but I'm not particularly good at it, so yeah, not sure if I'm doing it again. So as usual, on the left side you'll see the actual tracker where I add thousands of words written each day, and on the right hand side I have my fall leaves, branches, and the books drawn as if they were falling from the tree. And how I go about it is, whenever I complete a draft, I will color in one of these books. I am pretty confident this month for some weird reason, so I drew 3 books again. I should at least complete 1 or 2 of them if I ever wish to catch up. If you've seen all my other updates, you know that I'm way behind with what I should have already drafted and edited. So what I ended up doing with my September goals was morph them into September and October, and hopefully this will allow me to catch up. I'm not sure how, but you know, I'm doing my best, and so far 10 days in I have some chance of completing like 50% of my goals, which is pretty good. Like you can tell from the footage, I did not sketch the books before. I just went in with my fine liner, and yeah, I'm not doing that again either, because this could have been better and I had no eraser, and by the time I realized I had no eraser, it was too late already. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, September was kind of a dead month. I haven't really used my bullet journal much, and that's why I completely skipped doing flip through, because all the pages were empty, just as much as they were in August. With the exception of my reading, I did read quite a bit in September. So it was kind of depressing going through the pages and knowing I didn't do much, so I skipped it for this video. But next time I will start properly with a flip through of the previous month, I promise. So yeah, this is my tracker, totally free-handed. I also kept my editing and publishing tracker. I track the number of books I've edited and published, and for editing specifically, I also track hours of editing. I've introduced this fairly recently when I discovered I didn't correctly track my work and forgot to factor in editing. And when I add up the hours at the end of the month, even when it's a low editing month, it just adds up to everything I do, and I realize I'm not as much of a slacker as I thought I was. I went with the same fall color decoration on most of the pages where I could fit them, and I free-handed everything else. But like I said, I kind of needed to be better, like straighter lines, tighter everywhere, and I'm not good at drawing straight lines apparently. So yeah, probably not doing this again, and I will go back to having sketches of everything, because that's just more my speed. It's fun to be free with everything and just go through it faster, but I don't know, I'm not sure. What I am sure is that these particular notebooks, which are kind of like made in China, are really good for watercolor. I went pretty heavily with the layers of color, and they were pretty wet layers. There was barely any ghosting and absolutely no bleed through. Actually, for most of the watercolor there was no ghosting at all. And if you don't know what that is, ghosting is when you can see everything you've written or drawn on the other page, and bleeding is when the colors pretty much seep through the page and stain the next one. I've seen none of that with the watercolor in this notebook. It has pretty thick paper. It has 100 grams paper, and the Leuchtturm, for example, has 80-gram paper. So it's pretty good. It does buckle, but it might be because I used quite a lot of water and I don't exactly know what I'm doing. But yeah, I enjoyed the experience. I might do watercolor again if I find a way for it not to take forever. This is my books read and pages read tracker, and like I said, some of the footage is missing. I went with 12 books or 13, I don't know, about that many. I think it's 12 though, because I'm making up for August where I didn't read much. Yeah, I kept the same design other than adding the 3 branches with their beautiful colorful leaves. And because we're like a third into the month, I think I could update you and tell you that I've already completed 4 books. So I'm well on my way to reaching 12 this month. This is the most fun I've had setting up a bullet journal for the month, because I felt it was more artistic than everything I've done before. Yet it wasn't really complicated. I pretty much dabbed colors in layers and got the effect I wanted. But again, not sure I will freehand stuff again with no sketch and no ruler. I know I'm getting boring and repetitive, but I can't draw a straight line, people. And this is where changes to my spreads are starting to show up. I've completely removed my mood tracker, and that is because I use an app called Uper, which I will link in the description down below. It's completely free, it's done by professional psychologists, and other than being a mood tracker, it also connects those moods with the thought process that is linked to them. It explores thinking traps, and it's just better for me because I had a clear idea of my moods, but I didn't know exactly what caused them. I could always check how my sleep impacted them and my volume of work, but even if I knew on the day I logged them, I couldn't remember months after that. And with Uper, I have all that tracked, and it has a nice feature where it tracks what factors impact a certain mood, and when you mention them several times, it will display them for you. So if you need a better mood tracker than a standard one, I definitely recommend that. I decided to keep that and only keep my social media tracking and sleep tracking in my bullet journal, and those are unchanged. I use the exact same spreads because as much as I would like to go crazy with my bullet journal, if something works for me, I'm just going to keep it. What I changed was the color codes for absolutely everything. I tried to go with greens and yellows to match everything else, because I've discovered I loved when that happens and everything matches. I've also kind of reduced the hours in my sleep tracker. I started counting at 10 p.m. and not at 8 p.m. and of course there was one evening where I fell asleep earlier, about 9:30. But anyway, overall it works for me right now. I'll see how many other hours I add to it, but yeah, I freehanded everything, as you can see from how straight these lines look. For now it works like this, using Uper and the bullet journal for everything else. If I change my mind in the future, I might bring back the mood tracker in here, but probably not, because I need to go more in depth with my tracking, and I can't do that in a bullet journal without dedicating like 10 spreads to it, which, let's face it, I'll never keep up with. And now there's another big change in how I track stuff. This is my YouTube spread. It used to be half spread and now it's a full spread because as you know from my announcement, I plan to start a second channel. That's my Alina versus Art channel, which is completely dedicated to my struggles with learning how to draw and use Photoshop and do digital art, and hopefully at some point use all that to create wonderful covers for my books. So because there will be two channels that I'm supposed to keep track of, I thought I should try a full spread for my YouTube planning, and I color-coded the usual live streams, guest appearances and videos for my main channel, and the videos I'm supposed to post on the new channel, which is not yet launched, but it will be probably by mid-October, hopefully, if nothing else goes awry and I end up delaying it again. I did film quite a bit of content for it. I'm going to upload videos documenting my Inktober experience, which I'm behind with at this point in time, but I'll figure it out. I have material for at least 3 videos there, but I need to film an intro, which I didn't feel up to so far. So yeah, I need to film like a 2-minute intro and then I can launch the channel, and I haven't done that. Yay me! Anyway, so far it's been fun having this huge spread, even if I did not use it as much in the first week and a half of October, because, you know, I didn't post a lot on YouTube, but I'm planning to. I mean, look at me. I am releasing a video this week, and I will have a live stream this weekend on Sunday. I have my new genre talk stream with Nikki J. Marcus, and I had a live stream last Sunday with Claire. If you haven't seen it, check the info card and watch our latest Descent into Madness stream, because it's freaking cool. All of them are. There's a list if you want to see them all. There's a playlist, and you know, I'll link that in the cards as well, because why not? Watch them all. It's fun. And now this is my first weekly spread of the month. I went with the same theme for this first one, so I drew some branches and the fall colored leaves. I will not maintain this weekly theme throughout the month. I want to try something else. I already did a second one, and that involved a doodle of a pumpkin. And you can see that on my Instagram, which is always linked in the description down below, and sometimes I even pop it on the screen, like a true professional. I kept pretty much the same layout for my weeklies. Again, if something works really well for me, I'm not going to change it. What I'm changing up every week is the doodle I have in the right uppermost corner, and the color I use to highlight things. I am sticking to yellows and greens for this month because I want to match the overall theme. And yeah, that's it. If it's functional and it works for me, I'm going to keep it, because the whole point of this bullet journal is to help me plan everything and be as effective as it can be. And I'm trying very hard to balance it out and not feel like I'm not experimenting enough with it, I guess. So once in a while I'm changing up things, but not often when they work. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will flip through the entire monthly setup once more, but overall it's been fun, even if it took ages to film and then I procrastinated editing it. Setting up October was super fun, maybe because I felt like this time I was really getting back into things. So yeah, wish me luck with everything. I promise I'll have the next setup earlier, but I thought this is a theme you can easily use for November, so maybe it's not too late after all. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video, and please wish me luck with trying to get back into posting more often. Yeah, if you have any questions about this setup or the materials I use, although I list most of them in the description down below, or how I use my bullet journal to track my writing, please feel free to ask them in the comments down below. Do like this video if you've enjoyed it, maybe share it so that your writer friends can see it, and if you haven't subscribed already, I'd really appreciate it if you did. It does help to have a bigger audience here as well. And that's about it. I will see you all very soon. Remember the live stream on Sunday, and yeah, enjoy your evening. Bye!